It's New York or nowhere. This week's episode takes us back to the Big Apple, where Lestat works on his post-mortem album about the three-century train wreck that has been his life.
It's your host, Chris,
And Valerie.
and welcome to our podcast again, where we like to talk about beautiful clothes in horror media and film. And today we're going to be covering the fifth episode of The Vampire Lestat. We may be back in the States, but the wardrobe behind these iconic characters hasn't changed. Today we'll be discussing some details you might have missed and answers to questions we've had over the one particular detail from one of our faves, Immortals attire.
All right, Chris, we're on episode 5.
Yeah, time flies, huh?
It really did. I mean, I think we were talking about this last week. Like, it felt like forever that we weren't getting this show, and then now we're like more than halfway through.
Yeah, dude. And we still haven't been sent episode 7 yet, if you guys are
Yeah,
wondering.
nobody has. Yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of scared now, kind of nervous what's going to happen.
Because, yeah, after I'm sure next week after episode 6, it's crazy.
Yeah. So, some housekeeping before we continue from last episode, because we love to give our accolades. Some of Wing's
Mhm.
fave pieces that they made for the show was from last week. Gabriella's wardrobe from the 1790s to 1804 was some of his fave that he's worked on. So a lot of the pieces that we see from the flashbacks, like her white, shift, and semi-fully boned vintage silk floral stay, are his faves. And he said it was quite tricky to have to pattern match 3 multiples because Lex only had 2 yards worth of fabric for them to work with. And Elena made the shift multiples. Shout out to Elena. Maddie and Ashley were basically in charge of the 3 stays, I believe. They tag teamed for it. And he says there was a lot of handwork, even the eyelets were hand sewn. So that's kind of crazy. RIP
Yeah.
their hands. And Elena also made Gabriella's redingote, worn in the carriage and restaurant scenes, while Vivian made the skirt. Really, really cool. And yeah, he just loved the fabrics, colors, trims on the redingote, which I did shout out last time. I thought they were so cool. I love the little pleats. And he said it was so beautiful and authentic looking, like insane amount of detail went into her wardrobe. And yeah, a lot of the pieces from Gabriella's wardrobe was made in house, if not every single one of them that we've seen thus far. Specifically, the green and burgundy outfit from 1804, I believe. Basically, the last time she saw Lestat before 2025. And he describes it as being almost pre Regency style, according to his Instagram. So all of this is like on his Instagram. Go follow him if you love like period costuming, or if you're just really curious, want to see the behind the scenes action from the Vampire Lestat. He posts a lot of progress pictures from everybody, not just Gabriella, but Lestat, Armand, Louis, maybe hopefully Claudia next week. Maybe. Yeah, I just wanted to shout that out. And I also wanted to talk about Lestat's pants because he did make the
Hmm.
pants. And yeah, like if you look up close in the back, there's like a little lace up detail, kind of like a corset that men's pants used to have back then, or what Nikki would say, pantalones. And it's it's kind of similar to like the scene where they're like going at it and like the strings are like flying in the back. That a
Oh,
lot of
yeah.
fans were like, so yeah, yeah, you guys were really giddy about that. They're also on Lestat's pants on stage. Again, so many hands were used to create such beautiful pieces for the show, and they deserve to be recognized because it wouldn't be the same without them. So shout out to the team, shout out to Lex, and hopefully we get to see a lot more of these beautiful pieces the next 2 episodes, which Wing has said there is a lot more to come in episodes 5, 6, and 7. So stay on the lookout.
Yeah, so if we don't name something, just know it was either probably most likely made in house, or we'll make sure everybody's like up to date on the pieces that we see coming up.
Yep. So what's the synopsis for episode 5? What are we getting into?
Well, as you may recall, last episode ended with Gabriella returning and convincing Lestat to basically return to making music. So, in this episode, the band records their album as Lestat revisits his musical origins and pushes them all to new extremes. Louis comes clean about his guilty pleasure. Malloy gets a gift from the last person he expected.
Oh boy.
So yeah,
Nice.
so for episode 5, we pick up right in the studio. The band is working on the post-mortem album for Lestat because, at the beginning he reveals that he's faked his death. There was, in fact, a second shooting that same night that allowed him to fake his death, and that now, he said goodbye to Christine, Dee, Yarda, and basically his old entourage, and now it's just Gabriella and Sam Barkley.
I'm gonna miss Yarda. I really
Mhm.
am.
He became a fan favorite, which
Yeah.
is not too surprising because yeah, he's so endearing, and the way Sam plays him is so endearing.
The way that they had the cosplayer in this episode too. I was
Yeah,
like, that's literally us. Yeah.
yeah. Cosplaying as Yarda. But yeah, we do see him in like a red two-piece, which was made in house. I think he was supposed to mimic a red tracksuit. At one point, he's looking very Buffy the Vampire Slayer, which is a nice callback to, I think, episode 1, where he's meeting with Daniel and he says Daniel the Vampire Slayer.
I think Wing actually put on his Insta on his story that it's supposed to be a lounge set. I think it looks more like a tracksuit, but that's his version of an elevated tracksuit.
Yeah. I mean, and it kind of goes with what, Lestat saying in his voiceover is that the studio became like his coffin essentially for the months that well, I mean, I don't know if it's months, but the time that he spent recording the album, he talks about it being like his coffin.
Yeah, yeah. Also, like it kind of ties back to the cape, I think. I put in our notes that like I think it kind of does because now instead of like him being revealing to the world, he's kind of like being the opposite where he's going back into himself a little bit, being a little bit more of a hermit. There's a lot of tarot references in the show, so I feel like that's kind of a little bit of a callback. Basically, like at least to me, the colors look kind of the same. They're very inverse, even though I think in the cape there's a little bit of fuchsia, which they also made in house. Really, really cool. You guys should check out Wings and stuff for that. And basically, for episode 1, according to him, they made a lot of the costumes at least a month after they worked on the second episode's very heavy workload of the 18th century costumes. And Lex really loves that cape. Like, she really went into it in one of the interviews, I believe, from Svania, I hope I'm pronouncing her name right, Suho's Substack, where she says, I love that cape. It's got the most beautiful shape. The lining color features a little touch of Alexander McQueen, if I dare use his name, which I thought was kind of funny because last time we talked, you said, oh my God, I can't believe they haven't used Saint Laurent. I
Hmm.
name dropped Alexander McQueen. So I feel kind of bad because I should know that would definitely be something Lee would love. And he also wore Saint Laurent last week too. So I was like, oh, oopsies.
Yeah, yeah. I saw that after, like posted after on Twitter, and I was like, well, can't complain anymore.
And in both scenes too, like from the opener for Long Face and in the studio, he kind of does have like a Frankenfurter type of like moment
Mm,
where he looks back at the band.
yeah.
Oh my god, you guys should have seen my face the first time I watched this with Valerie. I was like, oh my god, it's Frankenfurter.
But I really liked, I don't know, I feel like it was nice that they incorporated that into the season just to, again, just really give into the detailing of like, the music and how much he loves it. So it's nice to see them in that setting and actually making the album from scratch.
Yeah, and we get to see them. They're dynamic a little bit more.
Yeah. We learned that Lestat is a perfectionist because I mean he really puts them through the ringer in making this album. Um, I mean, throughout the episode when they're in the studio making the music, they get like annoyed with him or like he gets annoyed with them for not understanding what he's wanting the album to be. Um, but yeah, we'll kind of go into each little tidbit from the studio as we go along. Yeah, we see his ghosts in the studio with him, his muses.
Yeah, his younger self, Baby Stat, is in the back.
Hmm. Yeah, we see Nikki. Obviously, Gabriella's there in the flesh, and then we see Louis too.
What's Louis wearing?
So he, if you people have been following along since season 1 of Interview with the Vampire, he's wearing the same three-piece suit that he wears during the church scene or the wedding scene, as many people like to refer it as. And I was going back and like reading some of Carol Cutshaw's interviews, talking about season 1, and obviously Louis during that Jim Crow era, he wanted to present himself as like, this very powerful person, very much telling the people around them like, hey, I'm equal to you, always trying to make a statement basically. um and so this is how like Lestat remembers him. I think the version that he loved him at the most, and a night that was so important to both of them. So of course he calls him, I love how he like reaches out and like calls him out to him to like, hey, come in the booth, like, inspire me basically. And he goes into singing Big Bad Wolf, which I haven't really delved into the music fully yet because I know he performed some of these songs live at the New York show, but I really wanted to be like, get the full experience when watching the show or when the music came out afterwards. So yeah, I was surprised that when he was doing like his little speech before going into the song, like he was talking about, hey, have you ever been in love with somebody who didn't love you back? And I was like, oh, okay, this is about Louis. Got it. And then listening or reading some of the lyrics, I was like, okay. So yeah, he's really mad.
No, he really is. And then he has like Ghost Nikki on what, like his left shoulder, like taunting
Hmm.
him, which kind of
Yeah.
alludes something big too, that he cheated on Nikki with Armand, which a lot of fans have been very divisive about. Hmm.
Yeah, I think there's so much going on there that we still don't know about. So I take that very lightly. Just because, again, I feel like Lestat is always somebody that does recognize when he's wrong. And it's only when he's the abused, like he doesn't really like to go into that, which, again, is a very like normal psychological response to any sort of violence, any like abuse. Like you don't want to recognize it as such. So I feel like keeping that in mind, I I don't necessarily think he cheated on Nikki.
I don't either, because for book readers out there, Armand assaulted Lestat. So I think this kind of alludes the same thing happened, but kind of like, oh, I have to sleep with him so that he doesn't hurt the people I love, type of like
Hmm.
coercion. Similarly to like what Louis did with Armand in Paris, kind of like that situation, you know? Just because, again, it's a callback to the books. And I like to think maybe that's the case because, yeah, Lestat did cheat, but it was like a very different reason. I have a hard time believing that he's so disgusted with Armand, he would cheat on Nikki with him.
I think that there are like even clues back in episode 3 when they're at the theater watching Nikki play, and Armand's like, have you told him about us? And he's like, what do you mean us? Like,
Hmm.
so I think that there's like still like a lot of hints for people to pick up on, to say, hey, something else is really going on here. This wasn't like a loving relationship whatsoever. But I did find it interesting that like Lestat keeps picturing Nikki like the last time that he saw him. And it's a nice like contrast to how he envisions Louis's ghost. Obviously, like this image of Nikki just completely like drawn down into like the depths of madness is how he keeps him, like how he's trapped in Lestat's mind, versus like Louis, he imagines him on the most euphoric night of their lives basically. I think that was really like interesting, and I think you found that interesting too.
It's interesting because Lestat memorizes people based off how much they traumatized him. Like that's how he remembers them. Versus with Louis, it's like the best version of said person that he remembers. So it's like they're polar opposites in their recollection of each other's people or the people that they loved. It's interesting how they both envision like the perfect or like the most romantic version of each other when they're haunted by like their presence or something.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm very excited to get into Lestat a little bit towards the end. But we do see a little bit of Gabriella in the opening scene. She's, again, part of his entourage. She's basically taken on the role of Christine. And I think we both think that, like, she was wearing the same thing from the last episode with, like, the cutouts near the collar. Because I think, to me, they look pretty similar. I found it interesting when Lestat was saying that she was the one that contacted Sam to have him come work with them. And I just
Hmm.
think, like, just one more reason to hate her because, like, she knows, like, his role in Paris and what that means for Lestat.
That's the thing. I'm like, do you guys bond over hatred or what? Because like they're both petty in that way. She loves torturing people. She does the same thing to Tough Cookie, like exposing her deepest secret, like willy nilly. So
Mm-hmm.
family bonding time. Let's be a hater with Mama. Also for the dress, because we do think it's the same one she wore last time. Also made in house by Olena, and it's supposed to be a modern day navy coat dress with a twisted collar for a peekaboo moment for Gabriella, according to Wing. So shout out to him for that because we had no clue when we were watching this together. Like, what was she wearing besides a really big coat? But up
Yeah.
close, it looks really, really cool. So if you guys
Mm-hmm.
have the chance, go check it out.
No, literally, like half of the time we're like texting each other, like, "Hey,
You
am I
see
crazy
this?
or does this look like this?"
Literally, like, okay, so what do you think this is, or what do you think it's the same as this?
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna talk about the Queen.
Oh Lord. What were your thoughts on seeing Akasha for the first time?
I was so excited. I wasn't like necessarily nervous because going in, like, I obviously expected something very different from Aaliyah. Maybe like knowing specifically like who she is in the canon of the Vampire Chronicles. I definitely think that the Queen of the Dan movie really leaned into that, like, what do the fans like to call it?
Like fan service?
No, there's like, oh, like a female boss, you know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, again, like Aaliyah, what Aaliyah did was, wonderful, and she was incredible in that film. Pretty much like the saving grace of that film. But I don't know, going into it, I definitely expected something different, something a little bit more closer to the book version of the character. And then seeing Sheila looking so, like, I don't know, I just found her so mesmerizing and terrifying at the same time.
Agreed. I think, going the bronze route like was the best choice for them. She looks even more uncanny versus the porcelain. At least to me, she looks more statuesque and more ancient in that way. And
Yeah.
like the hair being separate from the body too adds another creepiness factor because it's attached to it some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So, and then her husband having like half his brains blown out was a
Yeah.
really weird twist. I was like not expecting that at all. So I wonder if when they wake up, is he like gonna be brain dead or something? Because Marius said it was an accident that like he dropped him when they were moving, but like
Mhm.
was it an accident or like did Akash have something to do with it? To me, it's like I think she has something to do with it, but only time will tell.
Yeah. I mean, I was very surprised that they decided to go the route of Lestat being their keeper because he
Yeah,
wasn't
same.
ever that in the book. Like, he happened to like stumble across Marius, and then um here, he says that like Akasha told him where he was, and that's why he like pulled him out of the ground, that she chose him to be their keeper, which I don't know, I found very interesting that they decided to go that way. But yeah.
I know. I was looking forward to the staff being lost everywhere and just calling on Marius and just writing little notes for him. That's like my
Hmm.
favorite part of the book. Him just wandering around, just being like so confused and in hysterics, asking for this man he doesn't even know exists or not. Because he does tell him, Armand told me that you were destroyed. And then Marius is like, that Ron kid. You know, like,
Yeah.
yeah, we knew this was going to be very divisive amongst fans with the bronze and them kind of going the route that Inko might not be alive when they wake up. So it's nice to see though people being so excited and like ecstatic for Sheila because her
Yeah.
voice is so powerful. You could feel it in your core when she starts yelling, and that's what freaked me out. Like
No,
you
yeah,
rarely
exactly.
feel
Like
that.
she starts off
Hmm.
like very soft, and then like when she gets to like that last bit of like the monologue, it
Yeah.
just, oh my God, like incredible. Just incredible. Like to me it seemed like she was feeling that like in her like core what she was saying.
What was he wearing with Marius besides being dirty? What was he wearing?
I mean, I think like I mean, he goes underground. This is like after Gabriella leaves him, and he's finally like really allowing himself to mourn Nikki. Like, he buries himself in the ground. So when Marius like yanks him up, which I thought was so funny, he's still pretty much wearing like this 18th century like men's fashion. Whereas like a little bit later in the episode where he brings in like the ice cream scoop, he's more like leaning into the Edwardian era style, which I thought the ice cream scoop scene was so cute.
Like ecstatic over an ice cream scoop?
Yeah.
That would be him.
And he's also like trying to help her like pronounce the word. He was
Yeah.
so excited. But yeah, and then I think it's gonna be New Year's, or it's the New Year, like they're celebrating New Year's, so it's 1900 officially when she like wakes up and like drinks his blood. So yeah, we do see like that Edwardian dress shirt, like the detachable collar and cuffs, and it's also interesting when I realized the timeline. Like this is 10 years before he meets Louis.
Yeah. Isn't that
I was like,
crazy?
oh, crazy! Like the last really like big encounter he had with a vampire was Akasha, and then he meets Louis. Like that's crazy.
Yeah, dude. I was like, wait a minute when I was like doing the research because when we watched this, and a lot of people, okay, it wasn't just us that we were kind of confused with the timeline with the
Mm-hmm.
screeners and everything because I was like, wait a second. Like the collar is super like I mean like not like super, but like kind of modern because it's
Mm-hmm.
detachable and they have to like use starch. But then the shirt's different. And then the scoop, I was like, when was the ice cream scoop invented? And I had to like Google like when that was a thing. And so many other people were like, wait a second, like based off the clothes, like where are they going with this? But we all
Mm-hmm.
kind of forgot that like they aged him by like 100 years. So that's
Yeah.
why we were kind of like lost a little bit, but it makes a lot of sense though, because back then a lot of guys just like didn't want to wash their shirts, so they would just buy the detachable collars and stuff. You could actually see like the stud that they use to attach it to, like in some scenes, like in the front. So they would have one in the front and in the back, and like in their or on their cuffs. So really nice little detail. I was really ecstatic to see because if you guys know me, I like men's fashion. I love studying it, and I
Mm-hmm.
was so excited when they brought this up. Is he wearing a cravat still? It's like his own version of a tie. I don't know. Like to
Mm-hmm.
me, it looks like a cravat. It might be a modern tie that he tied into like a into like a cravat because he doesn't know how to tie a tie, which I
Mm.
thought was kind of
Well, because
cute.
isn't he basically wearing one when he meets Louis?
Yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
like, oh, so he's really out of style. And like with his little pocket watch, you can kind of see like when he's flung up in the air, like his pants
Yeah.
are like super slim. You can kind
Mm-hmm.
of see like the pocket watch flying too. Yeah, just a lot of stripes going on. I don't know if it's like his negative connotation with Paris or something, or like
Mm.
with his past, because he wears a lot of stripes, and so does like his mom, Armand. Like, there's a lot of stripe action going on. So he's feeling either constricted or there's just some type of negative like feeling about this area in his life or
I
period.
think I think even Carol, when they were talking about his suit for episode 7 of season 2, or like episode 6, during the trial scene, like they really wanted to create, I think, that like prisoner
Mm-hmm.
like effect. So I think we've just been like programmed to associate Stripes with him feeling like he is confined, like he is restrained.
Yeah.
Also, we do see him kind of lose his mind a little bit. during this time when it's just him with those who must be kept. Like, he's talking to them and like basically keeping them up to date on new things that have been invented throughout the years. And he like has like this little table set up with like name tags for Gabriella, Armand, Marius, his brothers, like
Hmm.
basically having conversations in his head with these people to just help time move along.
And I like for his brothers, he has cabbages.
Yeah.
And then for
Cabbages.
Armand, it's a rotten piece of bread for the rotten kid.
The
And
rotten boy.
for Gabriella, it's a lamp, which also ties into the song at the end of the episode, Stained Glass. I believe it's called Stained Glass. If not, I don't know what the name is, but I thought that was a kind of funny little detail that they added. That she is or was the light in his life back then.
Yeah. And then from there, we're brought back into the present, back in the studio, and he's singing Big Boss, like recording that song. And we do see him go outside, basically burning himself in the sunlight to get the right note, which is like funny, but not funny at the same time.
Yeah.
But again, I just love seeing the dynamic with the band there when TC's like, is this okay? Like, you're dead. This is okay. Like,
No, they're like losing it over him, like literally self harming himself. They're like, oh
yeah.
my God. Like they're seeing him like in pain. And he's like, no, again and again. Like we need to get it right until like literally it breaks glass. Like we have to get it right.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
also like to think it's like penance in some way because Nikki is like right next to him. So he's like, oh, I need to like, I need to hurt myself in order to like show him that like I'm hurting or like make
Mm-hmm.
some type of amends with his ghost because he doesn't want him there. In the beginning, he kind of was like a neutral, maybe positive presence. Now he's more sinister and he's angry and he doesn't like that. So he's like trying to make him go away in some way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's, again, kind of with Armand, there's something there kind of left unsaid with Nikki, but if we get further into that, we'll have to wait and see, I guess. But Lestat loves a knitted black sweater.
He
Like he's in
really
another one.
does.
In another one this episode. And then the longest bandana ever.
You know how long I was looking for that damn bandana? I was looking for that shit and no one no one sells like a big bandana like that.
I'm sure they must have cut that in house too.
Literally, like, there's no way. It's so big. And he's wearing like these really big Frankenfurter like leather gloves. I'm pretty sure
Mhm.
TC is like duct taping his arms. I like how his hair is insured, but the rest isn't.
Yeah. Uh,
Do we see Louis yet at this point?
yeah, we do. He's like, we're back like in New York. He's with Regina still. I think he goes out to her to this like fancy restaurant having dinner. We see him like talking to her about like his business, making small talk, kind of again reflective of the conversations that he would have with Claudia. And then like it's also like revealed that he is paying someone to cosplay Madeline, which is crazy. Like this poor man is just drowning in his grief.
And then he's also paying for them to like be intimate. I
Yeah.
was like, oh my god, the pimp never dies in you, does it? And the way that like when they break character, he gets mad is also kind of
Yeah, I
jarring.
was about to say the same thing. Like he just doesn't like seem like he's at all interested whenever they break character,
Hmm.
which is just really disturbing. And Louis needs help.
He for real does. And he's also kind of morphing into his boyfriend, quote unquote, with the shirt. If you guys remember from the attorney meeting, the lawyer meeting, whatever, his boyfriend was wearing a satin, maybe silk button up. I think it was silk from what I remember. He's wearing like the caramel version of this during their dinner.
Mm.
So he really is a stereotypical like boyfriend that like morphs into their partner.
Yeah, I think this also ties into kind of the conversation that he has with Regina when they're on the like central, like in Central Park on that boat ride. I think it's in Central Park, but again, like he's recreating like this conversation that he had with Claudia in the boat in season one, where Claudia asks him like, how does love work between two men? And he's like, it's love is love, basically. And then here he's recreating it with his boyfriend Lemuel, which he's like, we're taking it slow. He's not really like committed to it. He doesn't really, admit that it's more than what other people think it is, or what Lestat thinks it is in episode 2 of this season. So I think the clothing, like when you match, like obviously when you're in a relationship, you pick up your partner's habits, but I think in this sense, like he's more acting that part than really committing to it.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to morph into that guy's life, even though he literally told us that he's emotionally unavailable.
Mm-hmm.
He's sticking to earth tones, trying to feel grounded, even though what he's doing is fucking nuts. Like, I think that's so funny that like he's trying to look so grounded and put together when
Yeah.
anybody can see what he's doing is insane.
Yeah, and I think at that point in the scene, too, in that same scene with the in like on the boat ride, I think Regina is like writing in Claudia's journal, which I
That
thought
was
was so
crazy.
crazy that he handed
Yeah.
to her. Like it seems like a pretty similar design to her actual journal. Yeah, I was like, Louie, what are you doing? Like, hopefully, I mean, we don't see what's inside, so we don't know if it's like the same, like if it's actual pages of her writing that she has access to. But even just thinking that he did that is crazy.
He has her doing improv now. That's that's crazy. I was like, oh, so we really doing character study here, huh? Like,
Literally, yeah.
what's Regina
Yeah,
wearing? I think we forgot to mention that earlier with the
yeah,
dinner.
she's wearing like a denim jacket, a plaid shirt, and a white tank top. And I don't know, I was thinking about it. I'm like, I wonder like if he's asking her to dress this way and what like he would think Claudia would wear in modern day. Because I mean, we really don't see Regina outside of her waitress uniform, really, aside from the scenes that she's with Louis, like, recreating moments with Claudia as Claudia. But yeah, I was just rewatching it the other day, and I was like, is he like putting her in clothes that she would wear? That he thinks she would wear today.
I was thinking the opposite.
Ooh.
I was thinking that she's trying to dress like him
Oh, interesting.
because he wore the exact same outfit during their last visit at the diner with the denim jacket, the plaid shirt, and the white tank. The
Mm,
exact same layering, the exact same shades from the last time they were seen. So to me, it's like maybe she's trying to like appease to him to like kind of create this sense of comfort without crossing that boundary of like not role playing because she has the pigtails, kind of like Baby
mm.
Lou.
Yeah, now that you bring that up, like it's interesting because in that same scene, like, she is talking in that like New Orleans accent, and then he tells her, like, oh, you don't have to speak in the accent, like, you can speak as yourself. So yeah, I think yeah, you're right, because I think he like obviously like he knows this isn't right. So I think that's like there's a part of him that's like, okay, if we set certain boundaries here and there, like I know that this really isn't who I think it is.
Right. It's like she's trying to like it's hard to explain. It's like she's trying to please him now, like his mentality now. But
Ah, hmm. Should we talk about Gabriella?
God, yeah.
I mean, more about her because yeah, we see her like in the opening scene, and um, then I think the next time we see her, she's back in the studio with Lestat, and he's asking her like, why did you leave me? Like he's genuinely asking her, like really trying to get into like some kind of breakthrough with her, and she's very dismissive of it, obviously. And um she brings up all the times that she's left him, so she's like asking like, which time are you like referring to? I think it's there that we find out that she's no, that was back in episode 2, I believe, when we find out that she's actually seen him twice in New Orleans.
Yeah, she brings that up too here.
And then she's like, when you were like 3 by the river. Like, how are you gonna leave a kid by the river?
She said, "Here, drown." Like that's how I saw it. I'm like, damn, you really don't give a shit about your kid. And then she brings him to go see the witches burn.
Yeah, and
Nice.
that's when like the stutter begins. And oh, this is like the what I was talking about last. Was it the last episode, I think, or the one before? But basically, she says something along the lines of like, you don't need around you what doesn't need you. And I know she was talking about like herself, like, I didn't like need you anymore. Like, I knew everything I needed to know about being a vampire. Like, I could be out on my own. But I feel like that applies to him. Like, you don't need, like, you know what I mean? Like, he doesn't need her. It's like what she's saying, like, you don't need around you what doesn't need you. But again,
Right.
it's that like that need for like a mother's love that like keeps him from leaving her or fully pushing her away or hating her.
That and she loves to live vicariously through him too. Which that's the funny part. I was like, you're gonna tell your kid I don't need you, but like you keep him around so you can live out your fantasies through him. Sure.
I find that so interesting about her character because I think that that's where I think she herself doesn't recognize just how she's also traumatized by the time that she lived in. Because, I mean, we're in 2025, you're a vampire, and you were saying in the last episode, I'm not like bound by society anymore. I'm not a woman. I'm not a marquise. I'm not like, anything. I can be whatever I want, but she's still keeping herself bound to those roles. Like, I feel like it would be so easy for her to go after power than to live, but she keeps thinking that she needs Lestat to get it.
Yep. She thinks she needs to be a man to have all these things. And that's why like she brought up like tough cookies, insecurities being tied to a man. Cause she
Yeah.
sees that as like being beneath her. She's like, oh, like, who needs a man? But it's like, well, you need your son to
Yeah.
achieve your mission here of the great conversion. Who
Yeah.
are you to judge? And it's like present in their clothing, like how she looks so hyper feminine to us, at least, more feminine than in the books in front of Lestat. So whenever
Hmm.
they're around each other, it's like they're trying to fulfill this facade of
Yeah.
him being more masculine, her being more feminine. When she's around him, that's when like she all of a sudden her coat is undone. She has her cleavage out. She has these high heel boots, which I pointed that out before. I was like, that's such a weird choice to have her in, but it fits with her trying to fit into this gender norm. And with Lestat, it's the two-piece suit or the lounge set, like him trying to look more big and broad next to her to fulfill this fantasy. So it's kind of like they both have gender envy in very
Mm.
different ways than like what's perceived from the book.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so complicated between them.
Very complicated.
And I feel like complicated feels like a simple word to describe it, but it just is.
It really is. Like there's no other way to put it. Speaking of complicated, we need to bring up the man of the hour, Marius.
Oh yeah.
Man, seeing
Yeah.
okay, listen. I was too harsh to judge first time around. I'm gonna admit that.
I mean, I did tell you too. Like, I texted you. I'm like, I don't know. I need to know what your opinions are of him because I don't know how I feel yet. Like, I think what Christopher was doing with like what he's doing with the character is great, but like, I don't know. I feel like the look of him. I was like, I feel like so many people are gonna have a problem with it.
No, like I was like, okay, so he's not entirely book accurate.
Hmm.
Again, different perceptions. Cause to me, when I was reading, I was like, oh, he's the guy from Twilight. Or like the people. I
Yeah.
don't listen, that's your thing, that's not my thing. All I know is that they're like in robes with like the long hair.
Yeah. So that's why people were like, oh, he can play Marius. He's worn like long hair before, so he'll be great.
No, he has the Roman haircut and no eyebrows, which I did not even catch until last night. He has no eyebrows. He has, older skin, which I guess you could say is kind of like statuesque in a way, with the way that
Hmm.
it doesn't look real. Like it looks stretched on somebody else's face. And even like the wrinkles are so prominent, they look
Hmm.
like carved in. He is kind of a statue, a living statue. Okay, I wanted to bring this up with you today. I have been seeing a lot of people talk about his hair. In the book, his culture does not like long hair. So
Mm,
when he was captured, they made him grow out his long hair, and then they
mm,
turned him because that's what the cult thought was like the epitome of beauty, right?
mhm,
So there's one half of people saying, "Oh, maybe he cuts into like a Roman like bowl cut
mm,
every day." The other half is like maybe they're like ditching that. Like maybe it's just him being this like Roman looking guy, this nobleman. Do you
mhm.
think he like cuts his hair every day?
I feel like it's too early to tell, to be honest with you, like to know where they're going with him. Um, but before I forget, side note, like I can't believe I didn't catch this before, but like Gabriella also cuts her hair.
Yeah. You didn't know that?
Mhm.
In the
No, I didn't
car.
notice until somebody like pointed it out. Like you see like the pieces on the ground.
In the car. I was like, "Oh, so it's a shake and go type of wig." But
Yeah.
apparently there was a scene that was deleted or something that I heard of her cutting her hair.
Well, I think episode two, like, she's holding something in her hand. I think that might have been maybe what she was talking about because he was like, I have to go back and look at the picture, but it looks like she has kind of like those like old, like, the
Oh,
knives
yeah.
that men used to shave. Like, I think that's what she was using to cut it. But I don't know. I have to go back and rewatch or find the image. But yeah, that's why you have to rewatch the show sometimes because like you miss so much. Like, even for this episode, like there's in one of his voiceovers, Lestat says or mentions Amel,
Yeah.
which is like if you it's like a really big part of the story in the Vampire Chronicles. So I didn't catch it until again I was rewatching it this week. I was like, oh, he's talking about him in his voiceovers. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
And now everyone's like, "Where's Lestat then? If this is Amel narrating it."
I still think
Mm.
it's him. I don't know. Like maybe he's doing the recordings for him. I don't know. Like it's still again. I need to sit with it for a second and try to think of like what they're doing with it.
My theory is I think it's Amel speaking and Akasha. I don't think it's entirely Lestat per se,
Hmm.
because the way that they also frame Marius like was the one that pushed Lestat to talk to them, that was a big no-no in the book. Like he was
Hmm.
against that. And
Yeah.
we were even talking about that too when we watched it together. Like, why would they do that? Like, that's so out of character for him to like egg Lestat on to waking her up. And then his reaction afterwards doesn't make sense with what he was egging him on to do.
Right? Like yeah, like at the end when he comes back and Lestat's like floating up in the air, like he's really mad that she's awake.
Yeah.
And I mean, at first I thought, okay, well, we know in the book like Marius is jealous because she wakes up to Lestat instead of him. I mean, he's been taking care of them for what, over 2,000 years now, I want to say. So like that's why he's mad in the book. But for this, like if he's like telling him like, oh, speak to her, like did it, like she likes music, play for her, like it's like how what you can't have it both ways, my guy.
And then like where did he go? That's my question. Where did Marius go? Because he was gone for a while.
I mean, yeah, I don't think we know exactly how long Lestat is with them, but I mean, it's a while.
Do you like what Marius looks like? His character design?
I think so. I think knowing, like, you providing the context of, like, the historical accuracy of what a Roman looked like, um, I don't mind it. Like, to me, like, if the character is accurate to what he is in the book, like, that's all that really matters to me. Not necessarily what they look like, but I do understand, like, some fans being mad. If they are mad, we still haven't seen the reactions to this episode, but yeah, I think as long as it's like the character is there, I don't really mind. It's like, I mean, I hate comparing it to like Queen of the Damned again, but like that to me, that character was not Marius at all. But I don't know.
You know, it took me till like halfway through to realize it was Marius when he was calling him. I was like, no way.
Yeah, and it's so crazy that they made him like the stats maker in that movie.
Okay, let's talk about the band real quick because a lot of fans are getting
Yes.
really comfy with them, which
Yeah,
RIP Larry. You guys got way too close, way too fast.
they did. Yeah, the thing about Armand is he's gonna gremlin.
For real, he's never gonna change. The way that people are like, oh, he's like repenting. I'm like, you think he's gonna
No,
repent? He
honey.
has no
No,
soul.
he's not. I'm still trying to think like why he would go after Larry and then use Alex. I mean, it could just be like, him being really angry at Lestat humiliating him and just wanting to hurt him, but
I mean, with the way that Lestat describes them, when he's talking about the band and like his, I guess how they're extensions of him. With,
hmm
TC, he's like, oh, you're my heart, your drums. And
yeah.
then we'll get into that in a second and how that ties to Claudia. With Salamander, it's like your bass is the night terrors that follow me to coffin. For
Yeah.
Alex, he is his hunger. And for
hmm
Larry, he was his frailty, his failures. So maybe Armand senses that too. Maybe.
I really don't know because I mean, based on what happens in episode 6, like, I don't know.
Hmm. I also wanted to talk to you about that too because even though we can't say anything, I think Alex is kind of alluding to something that happens next episode through what he's wearing today. I'm gonna put on my tinfoil hat real quick.
Okay.
So he's wearing a Beach Boy shirt, and you know the song like "Good Vibrations."
hmm
Okay. So there's also a Beyonce song where she references the Beach Boys. Okay, and listen, if you guys were here last week, you know that I said Big Boss is kind of like Countdown. So in the song, the sample that she uses, she's singing like, "Oh, he's making me feel these excitations. What if that's somebody controlling him?"
Yeah, I think there has to be some level of control here because based on the reaction to Larry's passing that we see from Alex next episode, I think there's a level of like manipulation on Armand's part there to make it similar to kind of like what he did with Louis in terms of like painting Lestat a certain way. We'll
So,
see. Yeah, there's like we
yeah.
really want to talk about it, but we're getting ahead of ourselves.
Or, it might be like good vibrations in this context could be like he wiped his memory. He's making him feel these good vibrations, like he wiped whatever trauma that Alex suffered.
I mean, yeah, he did say like he like erased like every burden that he had, but
That's what I'm saying. Somebody's up in that noggin, and we're gonna find out who it is next episode. Because a lot of the shirts
mm-hmm.
that he wears is closely related to Lestat or tied to him in some way. Like he wore a New Orleans voodoo shirt, also gonna be like relevant next week. And it cannot be a coincidence that Lestat says you're my hunger. And that's something that's always lingering for him.
Mm-hmm.
So much to think about, much to overanalyze there.
What did you think about them making the band vampires?
I knew that was gonna happen. And then I hated that AMC kind of ruined it with the posters. Everybody's kind of like, deciphering the colors and everything. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
damn, you guys ruined it. I was like so excited for this.
Well, I I was kind of surprised based on we see Magnus bringing up that table, the idea of like people like his fledglings sitting around the table and then him saying like the drummer. I was very surprised to see that so many people were confused as to who it could be. I'm like, guys, TC's right there.
And it looks like her, the back of her
Yeah,
head. I'm like,
yeah.
who else is wearing a military jacket? Nobody
I will
else
say
is wearing that.
they did kind of throw people off though because I think Alex's poster is green. And
Oh,
I know
okay.
like some people were like, oh, Armand and Daniel are green, so let's like, make her and fledglings, but like Alex is oh
Speaking of TC, something else I've kind of noticed, I don't know if you have, she wears a lot
mhm,
of military stuff, a lot of
yeah.
military garments,
hmm
right? Besides like the military jacket on stage with the white dress, but like also like the camo. And then Salamander kind of borrows it at one point in this episode. He steals it
hmm
from her. To
Yeah.
me, it's like, oh, she's like Listat's second in command. Like, that is his favorite child. It's
I
kind
mean,
of
she is,
obvious,
yeah. Like I think they have the closest relationship
right?
to
She was
me.
the one that was like freaking out when he was like running into the sun.
Yeah.
Salamander loves his ponchos. I like to call him stoner chic.
Hey, yeah. You're
We've
not
all
wrong.
met that one dude in college who owned one of these, okay? He
Yes.
had three of them. So the first one in episode one was red. Last time, this is interesting, was like dusk colors, kind of. And we see him kind of cover Lestat with the poncho when they're like running outside.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it's kind of alluding the
Yeah.
last time he'll ever see the sun.
Maybe, yeah.
And then we got Larry just there with his green and his gray Henleys and his jeans. Like a
Yeah.
very straight guy, typical dude. As soon as I saw him in the subway, I'm like, oh, he's jumping. I'm sorry, but like, he's not gonna make it.
No, yeah. As soon I saw like Armand when he like showed up, I was like, oh great, here we go. He's gonna do
RP.
something. Larry, run. And then like Armand started talking, then I hear rest. I was like, oh no.
Nah,
We
as
all know
soon
what
as
that
they,
means.
yep, yeah. As soon as he popped up, I'm like, oh, so you're gonna jump for real? Like, there's no way.
And it was real.
Speaking
But
of
yeah,
the beigest pillow, according to
I was about to say,
fans,
let's talk about Armand.
a lot of people call him the beigest pillow in our comment section
I
for our
mean,
last reel. Someone said it's the beigest pillow for the beigest. I mean, it's a beige coat for the beigest pillow, and I was like, so true. And yes, they did make this in house. If you guys are wondering,
yeah.
but he's wearing something different this time. Underneath, he's wearing again. If I'm overanalyzing things,
Mm,
but it's kind of like the same fit as when he was like directing the play, like the rehearsals. Same layering. The dress shirt might be different, but the vest looks the same. So that's how you know he's scheming when he starts
yeah.
dressing that artsy like way,
He's directing.
directing
He's directing
something.
something.
And he's wearing all black by the end, reverting back to his old ways when he yeets Larry off the platform.
I will give Armand this. Like it was very sweet of him when he was talking about at one point, I think it was obviously back before the present day when I think Daniel had a falling out with his wife or like his kids, and he was talking about leading Daniel to like a church where he could like really grieve whatever, was on his mind. So I will say that was a sweet moment. That was a sweet thing on Armand's part. But
We'll give
yeah,
that to him.
yeah.
The Vampire Bourdain, according to
Mhm.
Lestat. I'm telling you, I was right about that. I was like, he's trying to so hard to look like Leonard Cohen or Anthony Bourdain, trying to be so cool.
Yeah.
Sure. And we see him interview a bunch of people on the street, lots of, Lestat fans, Jarda
Hmm.
fans, and there's a guy there, and I put this in our notes, that is a vampire. And he asked him,
Hmm.
well, how many fledglings have you made? He's like, well, I tried to make one, but like one thing was in, one thing was out, whatever.
Yeah.
He is styled exactly like Louis during the auction. Different
Hmm.
clothing pieces, but the fit is the exact same, like down to the scarf. That can't be a coincidence either because there's only so many outfits people can make, especially in New York. Not to be
True.
judgmental, but like people are like dressed to the nines over there. So it's like that's kind of weird to see two people that are not related at all, besides being vampires, dressed kind of the same. Kind of weird.
Well, I think you kind of also have to take into account that like vampires have probably read the memoir. So
Right.
maybe they're like, taking
Foul
styling tips from
inspo.
Louis. Oh,
They were,
by the way, we find out that Armand tells Daniel about Gabriella being Sophia.
and the way Daniel's shocked.
Okay, this is when I'm like, Daniel, put your journalism hat on, my dude. Because, like, at this point, like, I think, like, Armand's trying to talk in circles because he's talking about, wanting to be, like, the vampire dad to Daniel and, teach him how to use his powers. And then Daniel, like, starts talking back, and then he Armand hits him with the, oh, by the way, like vampire love can be a lot of things, but it's not incest. And that's when he talks about Gabriella being Sophia. And then he follows up with, I can teach you how to walk in the sun. And at this point, Daniel's like, wait, Sophia is Lestat's mom? And then he gets like, wait, you can teach me how to walk in the sun? And that's how they finish
Yeah.
the conversation. I'm like, Daniel, pay attention.
Like, genuinely, I'm like, do you not see it? Do you not see it?
Like, who gave you those Pulitzers?
I don't know, man. I
But
don't know.
I guess it's like one of those things where it's like only Armand can disarm him. But yeah.
He probably feels bad now. He's like, damn, I was like egging this kid on about his motherly issues.
Oh my
And
God.
look what's happening.
Just wait until episode 6, guys.
Yep.
It's
Yep.
awful.
Man. He really goes off the deep end. That's all we can say. And then we're back to the studio again, and he's wearing another knit sweater. I think it's Yoshi Yamamoto. I cannot say for sure, but it looks very much like a Yoshi Yamamoto cardigan I found for 625.
Yeah.
And then for pants, what did you find?
So, yeah, you and I were texting about this. Like, they do seem kind of similar to the ones he wore during like the New York concert, which I think you said were John Barbados. Um, but the buttons, some of like the detailing doesn't look similar. So then I like try to do like more research, and then I found what could be close to them being Diorenzio, but we don't know yet. So that may be like a housekeeping item for next episode.
We really don't know. We are squinting. We really are
We really
squinting,
are squinting and like putting our ear as close as we can because the subtitles aren't working.
especially around Gabriella. I'm like, what she say?
And then they become vampires, and he talks about Akasha's blood, which is where we get that incredible scene from Sheila.
He has woken up those who must be kept. Well, at least one of them. I really don't know what they're gonna do with her husband. I'm dying to see.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think in the book, like, he doesn't even have that much of an appearance in the present day either, so
He's an
they were like, good.
afterthought. Oh. Last time they were on the bus, I think what he's wearing in the studio is Rick Owens, just because when they were stopped by the state trooper, he was wearing a Rick Owens knit Malia top for $1,000. Very, very cheap if you guys want it. This time around, I think it's the Portville Jason hoodie. That's about $424. If you guys want to snag it, go ahead. I think it's Rick Owens just because of the strings. Looks very much like something he would have in his collection. He pairs it with his Jean Paul Gaultier sunglasses when he's running into the diner to meet Regina for the first time. And he is gobsmacked by what she looks like because he probably thought, okay, Louis is like kind of losing it. No, like she looks very much like their kid.
Yeah, like, he's just like, just silent. Like, he can't really process who's in front of him. And I mean, yeah, he's just immediately goes, like, his mind goes to like Louis and how, like, she's kind of taking advantage of him. And even Lestat, like, she pulls out like the, are we going to be a family, Uncle Les? Like, it's so, yeah, he knows that obviously like Louis is wrong for even like entertaining this, but at the same time, he also recognizes that she's like hustling him in a way.
And then the way he's like, oh well, she didn't have a limp. Your hip suggests that there's a gait in your stride from a hip injury, and she had a heart murmur,
Yeah.
which they did bring up in After Dark that like apparently associates vampirism, his fledglings, with drums. So
Mhm.
that's kind of like where it comes from. And so with her, she will never be in sync with her parents because her heart has a murmur.
Well, when you brought up that, what he said about TC's drum, like, it just made me think of season 1 during, you know, when Lestat turns Louis, like he was saying, like it was like, the drum was my heart, and even that like beautiful score from Daniel Hart, like, ugh, just all connects back to their hearts.
And the way he's like, "Oh, your drum sounds like a drum." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "It can't
Yeah.
sound like a drum." And she's like, "What do you want it to sound like then?"
Yeah, she's like, I don't, and I mean, it's interesting that they bring up that idea that like it sounds different to vampires. Like the vampire ear, it sounds like they pick up on things that humans don't. And I really loved that scene where they're playing stained glass for the band at the end, and TC, like, it's like she finally gets it. So that's when she's like, we want to be vampires because I understand now.
Yeah, it's very intimate.
Hmm.
And then we see him play stained glass on the piano. Guess who pops up? Claudia. She's wearing her Christmas outfit with a little burnt hand, playing the piano with him.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's again direct reference to season one when he's teaching her how to play the piano during Christmas, which is a really big deal because his religious trauma.
Yeah.
Hello. So he celebrated that just for her to make her feel somewhat normal. Same thing with birthdays. Apparently, he's a big holiday guy in the books, which I did not know.
Hmm. Yeah, I think in the later books, like they talk about like all the parties that they have for the holidays as like the vampire community. So still trying to keep with those traditions, I think, to just help time move along.
Oh, should we get into Braceletgate?
I was about to say, yeah. So Lex Wood did an interview with Autumn Brown, and she talked about the bracelet, Louis' bracelet, basically confirming that yeah, they are tallies for the vampires that he's killed. We were talking last time, people were thinking they were like the Cartier love bracelets that Lestat and Louis like gifted to each other, and then nope, turns out they're tallies of like all of Louis' kills.
Very romantic.
I keep
Yeah.
tallies too, but that's just me.
Is yours gold or silver?
Probably gold.
Nice. But yeah, Louis and Daniel have silver. Armand, Lestat, and Alex now have gold. And we've been trying to figure out what this actually means. To me, I think it's based off of age or
Mm,
fledglings, maybe. Whoever's the oldest probably has like the gold. But then, like, why would Alex have it then? That's the thing that kind of stumps me.
yeah,
What makes him
because he's
special?
not like a maker.
No, he's young. And then Louis and
Yep.
Daniel have silver. Hmm. Maybe, again, their proximity to the Talamasca,
Maybe.
because the tallies are from him working with the Talamasca, killing vampires.
Well, I think unintentionally at first. If anything, like he was killing Talamasca agents in Dubai.
Rightfully so. But yeah, that's just something that we're still trying to figure out as time kind of goes on. But Lex has said the one thing she has like kind of confirmed besides like what the bracelets mean is like Armand and Louis bracelets have no relation to each other. So sorry to all the Lumon fans. They're not related. No.
Yeah. So many, I feel like every episode, people are like, are Louis and Armand gonna talk this episode? Nope.
Nope. No. Hopefully we'll get answers during the season finale. I know it's a joke at this point that like everyone's saying, "Oh, the season finale is going to solve everything," apparently. But there's just so many questions that we have that we
Yeah.
genuinely don't know the answers to. And we can't say.
Yeah. There's like, and like episode 6, like just leaves more questions, I feel like. So whether episode 7 answers them all, we'll have to see. Hopefully we get it this week.
Hopefully.
And I think you and I were talking, like, I feel like they need to be stricter with the screeners because it's crazy.
You guys know too much. You're not supposed to know that much.
Yeah.
All right, last thoughts, questions, concerns.
I mean, No, what would you rate the season so far? I feel like episode 5.
This is like one of the episodes I was excited for you guys to see. This in the
Mhm.
next episode. This one
Yes.
does have my favorite song on it, so I gotta give it like a 9.5 out of 10 just for that alone.
Hmm.
Again, it's just my personal bias. I wish we got to see Lestat before he was put in the ground. But again, if
Hmm.
this is from his perspective, I get it. Like, he's not going to want to talk about his trauma, you know, not look pathetic. Oh, that's the thing I was going to tell you. I think Yarda is actually hot. I think he's the guy from like the teaser from Comic Con.
The double that they had at the beginning.
Yeah. And I think this is Lestat's recollection of Yarda looking like he has fleas and shit. Like he's itchy. Because he said like, oh, he's 3 inches smaller than me or shorter. And then we see
Yeah,
him outside. He's tall. He's like looking over him. If he's lying about his height, what else is he lying about?
that's true. True.
So yeah, I think Yarda is actually that dude that was like in Daniel's seat there. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it was nice to see that connect in episode 3, connect to the San Diego Comic Con teaser. Because when we all saw it, we were like, what are they doing? It's going to be like a mockumentary and da 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 da. And like, then we saw the season, and I was like, this is kind of different from what we saw in the teaser. And then we got to episode 3, and I'm like, oh, they wouldn't
That's
just
fine.
like do that randomly. So it was nice to see that connect back to that.
Do you think he's hot?
He has his moments.
Real. That is
More than
true.
anything, I find him endearing because he's just there for fun, you know?
I feel bad that there's like a whole graph of like the herpes shit. Have you seen that?
No.
That someone's like, okay, I know who patient zero is, and it's Yarda, that he got it from Applebee's. And then he gave it to Christine, and he gave it to Salamander because Lestat wouldn't sleep with Salamander. And then he gave it to Larry. It's like a whole
Oh,
flow chart.
oh, fun. I love what people do on their free time.
And with that concludes our episode. Follow us on our socials. We're on Apple Podcasts now. So if you don't use
Woohoo.
Spotify or if you don't have it, there you go. You can find us there on IG. TikTok is the same thing, Haunted Couture Podcasts. Follow my
Mhm.
letterbox because I'm more active on there more than TikTok nowadays.
Yeah, go ahead and follow my Substack, please. I'm doing coverage for the season, doing episode reviews, and then doing some additional like articles theorizing what's to come, hopefully. And then also just yeah, some other writing that I'm doing on there. But yeah, it's Lamode Virtuoso on Substack. On IG, it's the same handle. And yeah,
With that, we wish you guys good night, good morning, wherever you're at, and we'll see you guys later.
yep, stay safe over the weekend if you're celebrating the 4th of July.
And apologies in advance if you hear any weird noises. It's the fireworks and it's also raining outside.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Bye.